Unit 7. Scaring a ghost. Comprehension. A. Answer these questions. 1. How did the Otis family react when they saw the Canterville ghost? Answer. On seeing the Canterville ghost, the Otis twins shot 2 pellets at him with their pea shooters. Mr. Otis pointed his revolver at him and instructed him to hold up his hands. 2. How did the ghost try to scare the family? Was he successful? Answer. The Canterville ghost tried to scare the Otis family in several ways, but he failed every time. When he tried to scare them with his evil laughter, Mrs. Otis came out with a bottle of Dr. Dobble's medicine, suggesting that he was surely unwell and if it was indigestion, the medicine was an excellent cure. Angered, the ghost wanted to turn himself into a large black dog, but approaching footsteps made him hesitate. He contented himself with becoming faintly phosphorescent and vanished with a deep groan. 3. Why was the ghost angry with Mrs. Otis? Answer. Failing in his attempt to scare Mr. Otis and the twins, the ghost decided to scare the Otis family with his evil laughter. Accordingly, he laughed his most horrible laugh till the old roof echoed with the sound. However, hardly had the fearful echo died away, when a door opened and Mrs. Otis came out in a light blue dressing gown with a bottle of Dr. Dobble's medicine, suggesting that he was surely unwell and if it was indigestion, the medicine was an excellent cure. This is why the ghost was angry with Mrs. Otis. 4. In what way were the weather conditions favorable to the ghost's plan? Answer. Friday, the 17th of August, was the ghost's chosen date for his third attempt at scaring the Otis family. Towards evening a violent storm of rain came on. The wind was so high that all the windows and doors in the old house shook and rattled. In fact, it was just such weather as he loved. Hooting owls and croaking ravens on a stormy and rainy night provide the perfect environment for a haunting. 5. Describe the appearance and manner of the second ghost. Answer. The second ghost, as it appeared before the Canterville ghost, was a horrible spectre, motionless and monstrous. Its head was bald and polished, its face round, fat and white. Hideous laughter seemed to have twisted its features into a grin. From the eyes streamed rays of scarlet light, the mouth was a wide well of fire and a hideous garment covered its gigantic form. On its breast was a placard with strange writing in antique characters, some record of wild sins, it seemed. With its right hand, it held up a sword of gleaming steel. 6. What did the Canterville ghost do in the end? Answer. He flung himself down on a small bed and hid his face under the clothes. After a time, however, the brave old Canterville spirit asserted itself, and he decided to go and speak to the other ghost as soon as it was daylight. B. Answer the questions with reference to the context. 1. On reaching his room, he entirely broke down. A. Who is he? Answer. He is the Canterville ghost. B. Why did he break down? Answer. Not only had the ghost failed in his attempt at scaring the Otis family, whose rudeness was naturally annoying, he was particularly upset about being unable to wear his suit of armor. When he had put it on, he had been completely overpowered by the weight of the huge breastplate. He had fallen heavily on the stone pavement, hurting both his knees severely and bruising the knuckles of his right hand. C. What did he resolve to do? Answer. He resolved to make another attempt to scare the Otis family. 2. The owl beat against the window panes, the raven croaked from the old yew tree, and the wind wandered moaning around the house like a lost soul. A. Why does the narrator refer to these particular birds? Answer. The narrator refers to these birds because owls are usually associated with dark, eerie nights, and ravens with evil and dark powers. Hooting owls and croaking ravens on a stormy and rainy night provide The perfect environment for a haunting. B. How is the wind described? Why is the wind like a lost soul? Answer. The wind has been described to be wandering around the house and moaning like a lost soul. It is like lost souls because the living residents of the house lay in deep sleep, unconscious of the stormy atmosphere both outside and inside the house. The wind wandered around the house without a sense of direction, so it is referred to as a lost soul. C. Why is the setting important? Answer. The setting is important to achieve the eerie effect for the haunting. 3. After a time, however, the brave old Canterville spirit asserted itself, and he decided to go and speak to the other ghost as soon as it was daylight. A. Why does the narrator call the ghost brave? Answer. The ghost is called brave by the narrator because, despite failing to scare the Otis family earlier and being scared by the other ghost, the ghost did not lose courage and decided to go and speak to the other ghost as soon as it was daylight. B. Why does he decide to visit the ghost during the day? Answer. He chose to visit the other ghost during the day perhaps because he would be less scared to see him in daylight. C. What had happened before this? Before this, the Canterville ghost had ventured out to scare the Otis family, and had in turn been scared out of his wits by the presence of a second ghost. Think and answer. 1. Why do you think no one in the family was frightened of the Canterville ghost? Answer. No one in the Otis family seemed to be scared of the Canterville ghost because they did not see him as a non-human entity that had supernatural powers. Instead, they treated him almost as a human being who could be physically hurt by shooting pellets, or could be cured of indigestion by Dr. Dobble's medicine. Nobody in the Otis family was scared of the Canterville ghost. Instead, they made fun of him. The twin boys shot him with their pea shooters while Mr. Otis pointed his revolver at him. They did not think of him as a scary ghost and were rather amused by him. 2. Does the behavior of the Canterville ghost strike you as funny or frightening or a mixture of both? How does the narrator achieve this effect? Answer. The behavior of the Canterville ghost strikes us as a mixture of both frightening and funny. Oscar Wilde achieved this effect by wisely adding graphic details to the character sketches, so that the readers can visualize the action going on in the text. The eerie setting in an old English house, rumored to be haunted by a ghost, captures our attention. Noises being heard in the middle of the night and encountering non-human entities at the sight do send a chill down the spine. However, the indifference of the Otis family towards the ghost, comic interludes like the ghost attempting and failing to wear a suit of armor, Mrs. Otis suggesting that he take Dr. Dobble's medicine for indigestion, the ghost selecting his attire for his haunting venture, and then getting frightened by the presence of another ghost all add to the comic element of the story. The Canterville ghost appears as more amusing and funny than frightening. The narrator achieves the effect because this is not like other ghost stories that create an atmosphere of horror. When the members of the family try to tease him, he gets annoyed and frightened. The text mentions that he fell ill. A ghost who is supposed to scare people fails miserably. On another occasion, he himself is scared away by the unexpected and sudden appearance of a second ghost as he had never seen a ghost before. 3. Look at this table. What were the feelings experienced by the Canterville ghost at these points in the text? A. Mr. Otis pointed his revolver at him and instructed him to hold up his hands. Anger. B. He had been unable to wear his suit of armor. Disappointment. He stepped quietly out of the wainscoting, with an evil smile on his cruel, wrinkled mouth. Revenge. Wickedness. After a second hasty glance at the awful phantom, he fled back to his room. Fear. He flung himself down on a small bed, and hid his face under the clothes. Defeat.